Good morning. My name is Jan Shea. I'm very happy to be here this morning serving as your worship associate. On behalf of First Unitarian Church of Wilmington, I welcome you to this morning's hybrid service, whether you're joining us virtually or here in the sanctuary. If you are new to First Unitarian, I invite you to check out our website, firstuuwilm.org, to learn more about us and to sign up for our email newsletter. If you're joining us online and you're interested in learning more about our congregation's ongoing activities, you'll find a link in our chat that leads you to a brief form enabling you to sign up for our e-newsletter. We invite everyone here this morning to join us after the service for coffee and conversation and a few snacks in our parish hall, located just behind the sanctuary. First Unitarian Church is a welcoming congregation. We affirm the worth and dignity of all. If you are an immigrant, a refugee, undocumented, you are welcome here. If you are Muslim, Jewish, Hindu, Christian, Zoroastrian, Buddhist, atheist, or theist, you are welcome here. Whatever nation you call home, whatever faith is your own, you are welcome here. If you have a disability, visible or invisible, you are welcome here. If you want for nothing, or if you struggle each day to make it through, you are welcome here. Please take a moment now to greet those joining us online by waving to the camera over here to your left. And now, please turn and greet your neighbors with our traditional radical hospitality. Oh, no. Never. And now, let us prepare hearts and minds for worship.
Thank you, Linda. Good morning. Am I the only one who wanted to dance in the aisles during that music? Isn't that great? Well, we will have a chance to dance in the aisles towards the end of the service, so you're not going to miss out on that opportunity. I'm the Reverend Larry Piers, minister here at the First Unitarian Church of Wilmington. And as we begin our service this morning, I want to acknowledge the passing of a scholar of the Hebrew Scriptures who was 92 years old. Some of us may know the name Walter Brueggemann, who passed away this past week. And I'm going to read this one sentence from him that I think really grounds us in this time that we're in. Brueggemann wrote, "The prophetic tasks of the church are to tell the truth." To do what? In a society that lives in illusion. To grieve in a society that practices denial. And express hope in a society that lives in despair. Brueggemann was an inspiration to many faith traditions. And so I want to honor the light that he shared in his life and his scholarship by lighting this candle among us today. The call to worship I've drawn from John Macy's writings, who says that active hope is waking up to the beauty of life, on whose behalf we can act. We belong to this world. The web of life is calling us forth at this time, and we've come a long way and are here to play our part. So may our time of worship remind us or renew within us what our part is to play in the world at this time.
If you have a chalice at home, I invite you to join me by lighting it now. As Reverend Larry lights our chalice, I give you these words from Erica Hewitt. The chalice, as a symbol of Unitarian Universalism, rose as a beacon of hope in an atmosphere of tyranny. The chalice arose as a sign of promise that the marginalized would neither be forgotten nor ignored, because they are beloved and precious from the perspective of the holy. This morning, we remember all of the people who have been told explicitly or implicitly through police violence or government policy, through derision or dehumanization, that they're anything less than whole, anything less than beloved. As we light this chalice, may we make of our lives a beacon, a symbol of our promise to draw the circle wide, a sign that we will not rest until all means all. And now, please rise in body or in spirit and join us in singing our opening hymn, Life Calls Us On. And please remain standing after the hymn for our unison affirmation.
Here in reverence now we gather for the blessing we have known, with a pledge to one another that we journey not alone. wants and needs of those before us. We can hear to keep us strong. When our voices in the chorus of creation's living song, courage bids us lift our eyes upward to the shining sky. Hope lends us on. Hope calls us on. Loyal guides to love and duty, lead us with a trusted light. Blessed are they whose inward beauty shows the path of truth and light. Honor is their earthly prize. By their work we realize faith calls us on. Faith calls us on. We have shared a radiant hour when the truth has made us free, and the Spirit's gracious power dreamed of good that yet shall be. Bright the path before us lies. Joyful pilgrims now we rise. Life calls us on. 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 Thank you.
And now please join me in affirming our mission. First Unitarian Church of Wilmington is a beloved community that nourishes minds and spirits, fights injustice, and transforms the world through loving action.
Prayer can show up in a variety of forms and ways. Sometimes it's something that is composed, that seems to speak just what our spirit needs to hear or express. Sometimes it's just something spontaneous, those words we speak into the night or in the early hours of the morning. Today, I will share with you what I consider a prayer. It's a song written by Sarah Bareilles, Brave. Some of you may know these words. You have a part in this prayer. It's simple. When I go like this, I want you to say, honestly. And I'm going to go like this, and I want you to kind of say that word honestly as if it is unfolding as a space in front of us and within us. Let's practice that. Honestly. Let's try it one more time. Honestly. Okay. You can be amazing. You can turn a phrase into a weapon or a drug. You can be the outcast or be the backlash of someone's lack of love. Or you can start speaking up. Nothing's going to hurt you the way that words do when they settle neath your skin. Kept on the inside and no sunlight, sometimes a shadow wins. But I wonder, what would happen if you say what you want to say and let the words fall out? Honestly, I want to see you be brave. With what you want to say and let the words fall out? Honestly, I want to see you be brave. I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to see you be brave. I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to see you. I want to see you be brave. Everybody's been there. Everybody's been stared down by the enemy, fallen for the fear and done some disappearing, bowed down to the mighty. But don't run. Stop holding your tongue. Maybe there's a way out of the cage where you live. Maybe one of these days you can let the light in. Show me how big your brave is. Say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave. With what you want to say and the words, let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave. Innocence, your history of silence won't do you any good. Did you think it would? Let the words be anything but empty. Why don't you tell them the truth? Say what you want to say and let the words fall out. Honestly, I want to see you be brave. I just want to see you. I just want to see you. I just want to see you. I just want to see you be brave. I just want to see you. You join in with me. I just want to see you. I just want to see you be brave. I just want to see you. 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 We join now in a time of shared silence, allowing ourselves to honestly embrace all that we are, all that we want to become, all that we see, and all that we would rather not see. May the silence hold us. May the silence hold us. And in the silence, what is it that you are holding? Let's take a moment in silence to reflect on whatever concerns are weighing on our heart this particular day. And I'll invite you in a moment to share those concerns, those things that weigh you down, those things that bring forth in you the impulse towards more care and more compassion. Could be something happening in our world, something happening in the lives of those you care about or love, including those in this congregation, or a concern that you have for yourself. So if you'd like, you may write it in the chat if you're joining us online, or if you want to speak it aloud in this room, I'll turn first to this section of the room. What concerns do you bring this day?
Too many.
Too many. People in Minnesota. Everyone who's hurting for whatever reason. How about in this section of the room? What concerns are you holding?
Our friend Susan.
Friend Susan?
Thinking of Ib's time.
Thinking,
Father's Day.
yes, thinking of your father. It was just about a year ago or so that he passed away, yes, particularly on Father's Day. People being rounded up by ICE.
Spiritual leaders that stay with us through difficult times.
Spiritual leaders who stay with us through difficult times.
People who do not feel safe to be seen and heard in their truth.
People who do not feel safe to be seen or heard in their truth.
Fear and anger seems to be returning. It's making me feel like I'm back in the late 60s.
Yeah, fear and anger that seems to be returning. It's reminiscent of an earlier time. Anything else?
Mindless cruelty.
Mindless cruelty. Daughter's first Father's Day without her father.
How to tell the children the difficult times we're going through.
How to talk to children about the difficult times that we're going through.
Army, serving, and veterans.
Cer-
Army people, serving, and veterans.
People who are serving in the Army and veterans. Okay. I miss my dad. Someone said that. Yes, okay. Attacks on the Minnesota legislators. Evelyn. Right, all the people in the Middle East who didn't sign up for all that they are enduring and going through. Izzy, yes. So let's take a moment and say aloud the names of our own fathers or father figures within our own life as a way to kind of touch some strength in them that we can still draw upon. Just say them out loud. George, did you hear your name spoken? Okay. Randy, did you say his name? Okay, great. All right. So let those names be like a wave that gives us a sense of hope and connection that endures over time, through time, and within time. Now, what joys might there be? I know Susan Boyce, I don't see her, but I think it's her birthday today, so just flood her with birthday greetings. What other joys might there be? Let's start in this area. No kings yesterday, that solidarity and that strength of people who spoke out and stood up for a world where authoritarianism should not, could not, does not want to be supported. Any other joys? If you had a joy, what might it be? Make something up. Just make something up. Good memories. Okay. Lost and found. Okay. We are making things up. Great. Okay. Wonderful. What other joys might exist in this part of the room?
Talking to Julie about Peace Week, Delaware.
Oh, yes. Talking to Julie. Hot air ballooning. Okay, lovely. Having cat visit with us? Yes, having cat visit. Great to see you.
My son at her Sneagle's birthday.
Okay, her son's birthday.
Celebrate Father's Day.
Great Father's Day.
My son and daughter-in-law are expecting another baby.
Wow, was that like the next one? Like every 3 months, another? Son and daughter-in-law expecting another baby. Okay, friends, retirements. Making food with the kids.
The Renaissance Fair.
The Renaissance Fair. Okay, a few more joys.
Our second great grandson.
Second great grandson.
Words of Parker Palmer.
Word. Yeah. Yeah. Lovely. The words of Parker Palmer, who you know is a good friend of mine. Yeah. Sorry, what? Resilience of the American people. Family. Okay, so.
The comforting smell of popcorn.
Comforting smell of popcorn. So let's take a moment, join me just like this with your hands, and let's just gather the joys that have been expressed, and let's hold them into our own heart along with one another. Just 1 second. Just 1 second. Let's hold them into our heart right now as if they are our own. And if you didn't express your joy and you want to do it now, what is it? Okay. Great. All right. Okay, so it just spilled over. All right. So now, may all the names that were spoken and those unspoken find peace and healing on this day. Are we joining in this, Richard? Are we joining in singing?
I don't think the lyrics
Okay.
will be up there.
Yeah. So join in as you feel ready and able.
There is a love holding me. There is a love holding all that I love. There is a love holding all I rest in love. There is a love holding love. There is a love holding all that we love. There is a love holding all we rest in love. We rest in love. We rest in love.
So the reading I've chosen is from Johanna Macy's work. It's entitled Active Hope. Active hope is not wishful thinking. Active hope is not waiting to be rescued by some savior. Active hope is waking up to the beauty of life on whose behalf we can act. We belong to this world. The web of life is calling us forth at this time. We've come a long way, and we're here to play our part. With active hope, we realize there are adventures in store, strengths to discover, and comrades to link arms with. Active hope is a readiness to discover the strengths in ourselves and in others, a readiness to discover the reasons for hope and the occasions for love, a readiness to discover the size and the strength of our hearts and our quickness of mind, our steadiness of purpose, our own authority, and our love for life, the liveliness of our curiosity, the unsuspected deep well of patience and diligence, the keenness of our senses, and our capacity to lead. None of these can be discovered in an armchair or without risk. It's not just in your imagination. The last 146 days or so of this presidential administration have been chaotic, cumbersome, and cruel. Contemporary historians do point out that we are indeed in an unusual situation in contrast to other periods of American history. There's so much going on in so many places in the world at once. There's a steady stream of it. There's an unraveling, not just of programs and budgets and prior commitments, but also of our sense of who we are as Americans, or thought who we were. According to Julian Zelizer, a professor of political history of Princeton University, he writes, our current president, rather than acting as a force to try to bring some kind of reconciliation, calm, and stability, is actually fueling the fires. We have seen confusing and contradictory policies and undeniable, unconstitutional approaches, which is the view of conservatives as well as liberals. We have seen a search and destroy mission on our government agencies established to safeguard our health, protect our environment, and engage people we know and love in humane and useful government service on behalf of all of our citizens and of the vulnerable in the world. We have seen an inordinate amount of energy and resources going to project an image of strength and substance and to squash dissent by instilling fear, threatening to withhold funds, or using deportation as a threat or an actual action. Millions took to the streets yesterday while an estimated $45 million were being spent on an unprecedented and perhaps admittedly over the top, a little bit parade. We experienced once again a split screen America that has haunted us for months. You know what I'm talking about? In my opinion, we have crossed the line from just the political to the immoral. Many of us, I am sure, have found it hard to have hope in this multiplex of situations. Sure, some of us have given up hope in what seems increasingly like a hopeless situation. I'm not going to ask you to identify yourselves. Others of us have held up hope against hope. And some of us are hoping for the best, whatever that will come to mean. I've had to do extraordinary homework each week. This is where you have some sympathy and empathy for me, in order to appear before you most Sundays with some sense of resilience that names the current reality and at the same time seeks to find sources for some sliver of hopeful action. I have found among others, Johanna Macy's perspective has given me a sense of hope that is grounded and centers not in wishful thinking, but in what she calls active hope. Macy reminds us to look at what is going on head on and propel ourselves forward with an active hope, which again she describes as a readiness to discover the strengths in ourselves and others, a readiness to discover the reasons for hope and the occasions for love. In other words, active hope is not something that you are. It is something that you do, something you keep doing and keep doing. The focus of our service today is to reflect together on what have we discovered as strengths in ourselves or in others that give us reasons for hope. People often tell me they see me as an optimist. In part, they're right, and in part, they're not right. It depends what you mean by optimist. You see, as I have declared more than once in this sanctuary over the last 4 years, my favorite storybook as a child was The Little Engine That Could. So let's do a little psychological archaeology on Larry for just a moment. Something in the relentless trying of that little engine against all odds spoke to me even at an early age. For better or worse, that inner mantra, I think I can, I think I can, I think I can, has propelled me forward and through circumstances that otherwise would have seemed insurmountable, hopeless. And yet for me, it is that strength of spirit that is available to all of us to call upon. It's not merely a rational, provable strength. And the fact of the matter is that acting upon, drawing upon upon that strength of spirit is when I discover it, or it discovers me. I know many of us well enough by now to know that I'm not alone with this. You've told me personal stories. You have shared stories others you know, friends or family members, who drew upon a strength of spirit, a resilience that they never knew they had until they acted upon it. Much like that little engine that could. The playwright and dissident who became president of Czechoslovakia from 1989 until 1992, Václav Havel, offers this helpful distinction between hope and optimism that I found very useful. He writes, either we have hope within or we do not. It is a dimension of the soul, and it's not essentially dependent on some particular observation of the world. Hope is an orientation of the spirit, an orientation of the heart. It transcends the world that is immediately experienced and is anchored somewhere beyond the horizon. Hope is this deep and powerful sense, is not the same as joy that things are going well, or it's not the same of a willingness to invest in enterprises that are obviously headed for early success, but rather hope is an ability to work for something because it is good, not because it sounds like it has a chance to succeed. Hope is definitely not the same thing as optimism, he writes. It's not the conviction that something will turn out well, but certainty that something makes sense regardless of how it turns out. It is hope above all which gives the strength to live and continually try new things. It is this kind of strength, this kind of hope that I know many of us know in our bones. Even when we sometimes forget this strength for a few moments, a few minutes, a few days, a few weeks, a few months, a few years even, we oftentimes come here as a church community to remind each other. We throw a lifeline to one another now and then. We remind each other that inner strength of hope that exists even when it's not even visible to us, but may be visible to others. But it's not just this little engine that could story that seems to be part of my own alchemy. Jan, there's another favorite story of mine as a child. It was The Emperor's New Clothes. You know the story of the emperor who was so caught up in what his tailors, who were actually swindlers, told him about the magnificent new wardrobe they had created for him. The emperor surrounded himself with those he knew would agree with him, would confirm his opinion out of fear. They said what he wanted to hear. It's the opposite of honesty. They told the emperor, and he believed them, that the clothes were made of this cloth that had a wonderful way of becoming invisible to anyone who was unfit for his office or who was unusually stupid. So who would say anything in the... He was so convinced by their story and so caught up in his own delusions that he created a big parade, and he paraded down the streets in his new wardrobe in front of all of his confounded but complying citizens. I always loved the fact that in that story it was a child who was not deluded into colluding out of fear or retribution from the emperor or fellow citizens. It was the child who would be able to declare the obvious: the dude was nude. So hope for me includes these sentiments: an act of hope that allows me to discover what strengths are there. As we act upon that hope, we not only discover an inner strength, we also cultivate it, just like that little engine that could. A truthful hope that looks reality in the eye and says what is happening even when there's so much collusion to silence or delusion. That's the emperor's new clothes. These are the practice I've engaged in over these last 146 days with you. Many a Sunday, I would have rather not brought up the shenanigans that are happening in our country. Yet when the cruelty and the repercussions will impact the most vulnerable, impact our children and our grandchildren and our fragile earth, I could not bring it up. Many a Sunday, I found a way to push forward with not a wishful but an act of hope, knowing that there is a strength within us, a strength among us. Call it God, call it Spirit, call it simply hope, but it is available to us. It's ready to be discovered, not by what we say, but by what we do. And I can think of countless examples of that within this congregation each week. So after laboring for 146 days in this discipline of active hope, Sunday after Sunday empathy, I thought it only fair to turn to you, so I used this humor from the comedian David Barry to offer this prompt to some of our members of the congregation who have asked to share their reasons for hope with us this morning. So we'll hear some short pieces from Jacquee Lukawski, Susan Cicala, Georgianne Sheehy. If you saw the description for this morning's service, the prompt I gave to them was this simple one from the comedian Dave Barry. I quote, "So at this moment, the situation appears grim, and yet there are plenty of reasons to feel hopeful about the future. To name just a few," and then in parentheses, note to the editor, please insert some reasons to feel hopeful about the future if you can think of any. And so I asked each of our speakers to fill in those parentheses. Jacquee.
Good morning. When Reverend Larry asked me to speak on the topic of
Good morning. Despite the risks involved to those exercising First Amendment rights, we saw the massive collective voices joining yesterday in the No Kings demonstrations with hundreds of events across the country. This includes several members of our congregation in Newark, Delaware, and Washington, D.C., who wore their yellow T-shirts representing First Unitarian and standing on the side of love. If I'm being honest, though, I'm still quite worried. We live in a time of what seems like history repeating itself. Innocent families being torn apart, wars that are impacting many, including the students that I work with, wildfires making it hard to breathe outside, executive actions that are confusing at best and discriminatory in nature most often. In times like these, however, I do feel hopeful for what protesters, musicians, and artists can express to fight back. Political protests come in many forms, and we must continue to create resistance to tyranny and oppression, perhaps with a Renaissance period following the Dark Ages. I know I'm very hopeful for the next generation of young people who are not afraid to speak up for what matters, some of which I'm proud to call my children. Bringing kids into a world that can seem divisive and at peril was not an easy decision, but sometimes change takes shape in our faith to hope for a better tomorrow. Lately, I've been releasing my worries to a higher power, perhaps, as you may know it, of prayer, knowing that I'll do my best, I'll continue to do that, but I'm going to let go of that which is completely out of my control. But I'll still do what I can. So I recently participated in 2 rallies to address critical budget shortfalls facing public transportation in southeastern Pennsylvania and the region, including Delaware, who is set to lose its Wilmington-Newark train line as of January 1st. I'll continue to raise awareness for the need for better infrastructure for the vulnerable cyclists and pedestrians in our region, and one example out here is 202. We each have our cause and our causes, and I'm proud to be part of such a vibrant faith community that encourages outreach in the belief that all people on earth have an equal claim to life, liberty, and justice, and no idea, ideal, or philosophy is superior to a single human life.
Good morning. When Reverend Larry asked me to speak on the topic of hopefulness about the future, the person who immediately came to mind was Fred Rogers, and the story that he would tell about being a boy who was frightened by the things he'd see in the news. And he was comforted by his mother's advice to look for the helpers. You'll always find people helping. In these hard times, that's become one of the ways I maintain my hope for the future. I'm looking for the helpers and the ways I can join and support them. The first biography I ever read as a child was about Clara Barton, a good Universalist. As a 10-year-old, I was really blown away by this woman who packed herself up and headed into the battlefields of the Civil War to fill a need that she didn't see anyone addressing. From her initiative, we know, came the Red Cross, the International Red Cross, the Red Crescent. And I'm sure that it inspired groups like Doctors Without Borders or Jose Andreas's World Central Kitchen, and numerous other ways that we offer aid in a crisis. One woman took action where it was needed, and we see the ripples that she created. As I look for the helpers, I'm learning that they're out there addressing all the things that I worry about, and these days that's pretty much the entire world. There's a group called Circlewood, a community in the northwestern part of the United States, and they're committed to cultivating a more ecologically conscious faith, and they seek to partner with those who want to live in harmony with each other and the earth. John Philip Newell is an author and a teacher who writes about the divine connection between all creation and our ability to use that awareness to imagine our way into a new relationship with the world. Joanna Macy, at 96 years of age, continues to promote the work that reconnects, her lifelong mission to move us toward creative action and healing the earth. Don't stop looking. We can all be helpers. There's always hope when we join together in action.
Hi, I'm Susan Cicala, and I am here to talk to you about hope. I know when Larry first asked me to do this talk, hope can feel kind of hard right now with a lot of things going on, but I have found lots of things to be hopeful about, and I'm going to tell you a little story about one of them. When Larry first asked me, I had just returned home from the Junior League National Conference, where hundreds of women volunteers joined in community to celebrate each other's achievements in service. In Wilmington, our branch has donated over 84,000 menstruation products to those in need this year alone. In 2020, we worked with the state legislature to pass House Bill 20. This bill requires all public and charter schools within the state with students in grades 6 through 12 to provide free menstruation supplies in bathrooms. We have donated supplies to food banks, community centers, and libraries, and we are making a difference. These community initiatives are happening all across the country, and the charge is being led by women. We are focusing on, all across the country, people are focusing on food insecurity, hygiene, pregnancy and maternal health care, disaster relief, pediatric vaccine clinics, child advocacy, and prevention of human trafficking. This is all through the Junior League. I left the conference so inspired and hopeful about the change that we can make in our communities. First U is such a strong, passionate community that I am so proud to be a part of. I'll leave you with this because this helps me get through some tough days. If we look for the good or the hopeful in the world, we can find it. Thank you.
And thank you, Jacqueline and Georgianne and Susan. It now falls to each of us to take a moment now, maybe with your hand on your own heart, and asking yourself, how can I be part of an active hope, not an armchair hope that's just sitting back, waiting for it to somehow appear, but an active hope that begins in our own heart and gets manifested each day in those risky actions that we take towards hope rather than despair, in those actions that we take to be a certain kind of presence in the world. It doesn't have to be on the big stage of the world. It can be in the small arenas of our life. A father with his children, a congregant with another congregant going through a hard time. It can be serving meals for those who are hungry in our city. It can be bringing some things for those ILYA students, those young adults who we're caring for in our congregation, giving them something to start their apartments. You know the places where you get called to act on hope. So take a moment before I say amen, and think about what is the one way that you can engage in active hope. If your hand's on your heart, tap your heart a little bit to remind yourself during the week, just like tap your heart and say, what was that active hope I was going to do? It's there, it resides there, and you can activate it at any moment it is needed to come forth. Amen.
It's been about 8 months since the last time I spoke here of my concerns about the state of our country, and about my struggle to regain my footing and find something to hold on to. And though I wish I could say that the worst is behind us now, or that someone with the power to do something is about to do whatever that something is that will put a halt to all the madness, or that I get up every morning now filled to the brim with optimism. But the truth is, I'm still struggling. And things do seem to be getting ever worse. But as Dave Barry rightly, if somewhat ironically, suggests, there are still reasons to hope. I attended the Wilmington No Kings rally yesterday morning and saw firsthand one of those reasons. People are pushing back here in our city and all across the country. At last count, I believe it was 12.5 million came out across the country to protest yesterday. And that takes planning and effort and time, and maybe even causes some discomfort depending on where you march. But millions of people have decided that they will not just sit by and watch as the rights of others are taken away, rightly recognizing that it won't stop with the rights of others. People are showing up, and it is making a difference. Maybe not as big of a difference yet as we would like to see, but even a little backpedaling from those who would do as much as they can possibly get away with is enough to make me want to keep trying, to keep making my voice heard along with countless others. Another reason for me to hope exists in many UU churches across the country, including right here. When the line between right and wrong is drawn so sharply for us, even we UUs can manage to come to consensus on the issue at hand. And it feels good to come here and just breathe it in. The unity, the support, the care, the relief, the sense that I'm safe here, and yes, the hope. Having this safe space has been a huge comfort to me over these past months, and also an energizing source, as I hope it has to you. And since we are so focused on hope today, I hope that you will continue to generously support First You in whatever way or ways you can, be it financial support or volunteering or listening to each other, offering a helping hand, offering comfort. But the work of paying the bills and keeping the building running is always before us, and we need to make sure that we continue to provide the immense and growing range of inspiring programming for our adults and youth, and most importantly in these times, protect and maintain our beloved community. As Linda plays our offertory music, our ushers will be coming forward to receive our offering. You will see described on the screen the various ways you can contribute. Your generous donations are received with gratitude. Please join me in dedicating our offering to the work of this congregation, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action. We dedicate our lives, and these are offerings. Thank you, Linda and Richard, for the wonderful music today. If you have a chalice at home, please join me in extinguishing it now as I offer these words from Craig Rowland. As we extinguish this chalice flame, may the warmth of its light remain with us, guiding our steps and our hearts. Let us carry forward the strength of this community, the courage to speak truth, and the hope that transformation is possible. In each breath we take, may we remember that the work of love, justice, and healing is ours to continue, both here and beyond these walls. Go in peace with the light of this gathering to illuminate your way.
Thank you, Jan. So you may have seen the brochure with the listing of our summer services. It was available at the table as you were coming in. Maybe there even are some by the name tag rack. That was a hint, in case there aren't. But with the help of the worship associates of our congregation and some guest preachers and so forth, we have a wonderful lineup of summer services. Next Sunday is just a little different in that Unitarian Universalists are joining in a general assembly this week, and it concludes with a worship service next Sunday, which we will broadcast live in our congregation here for those of you who would like to be here. The added attraction is if you come at 10:30, we'll have some bagels and coffee. You bring some breakfast breads that fit your preferences as well. We'll share those for a half an hour in the parish hall, and then we'll come into the sanctuary to join 3,000, 4,000 or so of our favorite Unitarian Universalists from around the country in worship. And then the other services are listed here. Please take one, not just for yourself, but for a friend or a neighbor who you might want to invite to join us sometime this summer. Benediction comes from these words by Joanna Macy. To be alive in this beautiful, self-organizing universe, to participate in the dance of life with senses to perceive it, lungs that breathe it, organs that draw nourishment from it, is a wonder beyond words. So friends, let us participate, continue to participate in this dance of life, this dance of hope, as we sing together our closing hymn, number 311, Let It Be a Dance.